TomoNews presents Tornadoes. Don't believe in God? Watch this video and you just might change your mind. Watch the bottom left of the screen. See that person looking for shelter? Then boom, a tornado slams into the building. That woman is either exceptionally lucky, or as she believes, was spared by the hand of God. OMG indeed. And that was just one of the over 50 strong tornadoes that hit the Gulf and east coast of the US between February 23rd and 24th. Wikipedia reports the storms were the second largest tornado outbreak ever recorded in the States, which sadly claimed the lives of at least 7 people. The survivor you saw is Kyra Johnson, who works as a FedEx driver in Louisiana. Shortly after 3 p.m. on February 23, 2016, Johnson tried to escape an approaching tornado. Leaving her vehicle, she desperately ran towards Sagona's True Value hardware store in Paincourtville. The store was locked up, and after tugging on the doors for a second or two, Johnson disappears off screen. Moments later, bam, the entire building is ripped to shreds. We can't see it, but Johnson survived by wedging herself between a wall and a vending machine, and it was just enough cover to spare her a grisly fate. Other cameras at the store also recorded the moment the twister struck, and as you can see, it doesn't look very survivable. The store was pretty much obliterated. 45 homes were wiped off the map, while 22 other buildings were seriously damaged. Kyra Johnson told the media, "I braced myself between the Coke machine and the wall, and I just know it saved me. Jesus saved me," she said, recounting how she prayed that God would spare her life as the winds howled around her. Pretty much every Facebooker commenting on the story attributes Kyra's survival to divine intervention. And with this level of destruction, it's hard not to wonder if someone was indeed looking out for Miss Johnson. Store owner David Sagona presented a Saved by the Hands of God t-shirt to Johnson, and also, quite wisely, began using the tornado tail as a marketing tool. But divine intervention or not, Kyra Johnson is spot on when she says she's counting her blessings. And man, she's got a lot to be thankful for. Texas couple chatting on Facetime when tornado kills wife. 7 motorists were killed near Garland, Texas Saturday night after a tornado packing winds of up to 200 miles an hour ripped up roads and overturned vehicles. Petra Porras, a 27-year-old mother of 4, was among the victims. Her husband Ruben sadly witnessed the moment of his wife's death. Ruben Porras had surprised his wife on Christmas Day with a gift, a solo trip to a hair salon for some R&R, something any mom will tell you is quite a treat. Driving back to their home in Mesquite after the appointment, Petra turned on FaceTime and started chatting with Ruben about dinner and family stuff, when suddenly, Ruben heard Petra begin screaming. He watched as the screen got fuzzy and then went black. Using a locator app, Ruben identified the spot where his wife's phone signal had come from, and a friend drove him to the site. Blocked roads forced Ruben to run the last mile, past trees torn to shreds and cars flipped over like toys. He says he was just hoping she was still alive. When he arrived at his wife's crushed, overturned vehicle, his hopes were shattered. Petra Porras, a mother, wife, and Ruben's best friend, was dead. He leaned in and held her hand one last time. Hours later, Porras sat down with his 4 kids, ages 2 through 9, and told them their mother wasn't coming home. Ruben says he believes Petra's passing was swift and knows she's now watching over them from above. A GoFundMe page for the family has since raised over $36,000.
Watch as this tornado lifts a roof clean off of a high school. You see that roof flying through the air? That came from a high school where at least 100 people were gathered for an award ceremony the moment the tornado hit this past Sunday.
First time God knows how many years the town's just been hit. There goes the school! There goes the school! That's not Casey's, that's f***ing school!
You can hear the ballsy man behind the camera refusing to take shelter so he can film the whole thing.
I know it is. Get in your basement.
It's over there, so I'm fine right here.
Miraculously, no one inside Southern Calhoun High School of Lake City was injured. But the small town was still without power on Monday morning thanks to the vicious twister.
Firenadoes, this is how they form. Firenadoes have made the news in the last few weeks in California and Missouri after a record dry winter has set the perfect conditions for wildfires. Known in the science community as a fire whirl, a firenado is a phenomena that has been documented for more than 100 years. The Great Chicago Fire in 1871, for example, was spread by a fire whirl throwing flaming chunks of wood in all directions. A fire whirl can occur when ground-level winds create an air vortex that comes in contact with fire. The ground's high temperature causes the hot air immediately above the surface to quickly rise, pushing the air vortex up into a vertical fire spiral. The air inside the funnel then acts as a solid rotating column of gas, which keeps spinning quickly while kicking up fire and smoke. It is estimated that firenadoes burn fuel 3 to 7 times faster than an open flame. They can be as high as a 10-story building and 10 feet wide. While some firenadoes dissipate after a couple of minutes, others can sustain themselves for longer, dramatically enlarging a wildfire's path of destruction for miles. The deadliest fire whirl on record occurred in Japan in 1923, which formed after the Great Kanto 7.9 earthquake and swept the area where survivors of the quake had gathered. Thousands were killed in just minutes.
Winter storms kill at least 43 in the U.S. What is up with Jack Frost this year? Deadly tornadoes in Arkansas and hail in Texas? No way. Yes way. A monster storm system has been ripping through the U.S. and so far it's claimed at least 43 lives. In addition to flooding in the Northwest, Midwest, and Southern states like what you see here in these pics from Alabama, residents of Texas and other southern states have been hit with winter tornadoes. 3 tornadoes tore through Dallas, Texas, killing 11. Here you can see electrical transformers exploding along the path of one of the Dallas twisters. On Sunday, the National Weather Service issued tornado warnings for southern Arkansas and northern Louisiana. Here is a glimpse of the aftermath of a tornado that passed through Birmingham, Alabama, the day after Christmas. The governors of Missouri and New Mexico have declared a state of emergency.
Multiple tornadoes strike Oklahoma, leaving 1 person dead. At least 3 tornadoes hit Oklahoma and Arkansas during a supercell thunderstorm on Wednesday. Multiple tornadoes were seen moving through the Tulsa suburb of Sand Springs Moore, near Oklahoma City, and Westport in Oklahoma, as well as in Arkansas on Wednesday, leaving 1 person killed and several injured. Tornadoes often develop from supercell thunderstorms. Supercells are formed when wind shear sets air spinning and the updraft tips the spinning air upright. The updraft then starts rotating, forming mesocyclones within the supercell. The rising air then expands and spreads, forming an anvil cloud. Convergence of warm air in the updraft and cooler air from the downdraft causes a rotating wall cloud to form as the mesocyclone lowers below the cloud base. An area of low pressure at the surface then pulls the mesocyclone down, forming a funnel cloud. A tornado is born when the funnel touches the ground. Multiple buildings were damaged and numerous cars and trucks were overturned by the tornadoes. Rain, lightning, and winds were hampering rescue efforts.
Man faces off with tornado in Illinois.
This is a tornado and I cannot tell which way it is going, so I don't know how to get away from it. But it looks like it's coming right towards me.
How'd you like to be driving along one day and come upon an ominous sight like this? Sam S. was driving through Rochelle, Illinois last weekend when he came face to face with Mother Nature in the form of a tornado.
Ridiculous. Oh, that is scary. The truck is, oh my gosh. Holy smokes.
Tornado wreaks havoc in Mexico border city. The first tornado to hit a Mexican border city in more than a century struck on Monday morning, killing at least 13 people. A tornado struck the Mexican border city of Ciudad Acuna at 6:40 on Monday morning. A government official told the BBC that an area of about 7 blocks was affected by the tornado, causing devastating damage that left 230 people hospitalized, 10 adults and 3 children dead, as well as around 750 properties in ruins. In the wake of the tornado, 8 shelters have been set up in the city. Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto was set to visit the city on Monday evening in order to survey the damage.
Tornado rips through Texas drilling rig, causing serious injuries. A number of injuries have been reported after a tornado hit a natural gas drilling rig in northeastern Texas. The National Weather Service issued a severe storm and tornado warning for the Texas Panhandle on Wednesday evening. At around 5:20 p.m. local time, the tornado hit a natural gas drilling rig near the town of Canadian in Texas's Hemphill County. As the tornado ripped through the drilling rig, the multi-purpose doghouses adjacent to the rig floor suffered severe damage. The Hemphill County Sheriff's Office told Reuters that 2 of the rig's workers suffered minor injuries, while a third suffered an impalement to the abdomen. The tornado hit northern Texas as other parts of the state have been subject to extreme rainfall and flooding.
At least 17 killed as tornadoes sweep south and Midwest. Authorities confirmed at least 17 deaths after tornadoes slammed several southern and Midwestern states on Sunday evening. Severe weather conditions led to the formation of tornadoes in the area commonly known as the Tornado Alley. Low pressure in the plains draws in winds from the southwest and from the Gulf of Mexico. As these winds converge, the fast, dry wind from the southwest rolls the humid Gulf winds into a horizontal vortex. A warm updraft pushes the horizontal vortex into a vertical position and forms a thunderstorm. Warm air continues to be sucked into the heart of the storm, while cold drafts falling from the storm cloud restrict the inflow of warm air, causing air flowing into the storm to increase in speed, feeding the formation of a tornado. A tornado struck Quapaw, a town in northeastern Oklahoma, killing 1 person and injuring 2 others before moving north into Baxter Springs, Kansas. Another tornado, as much as half a mile wide, ripped through 40 miles of the suburbs northwest of Little Rock, Arkansas, killing at least 16. Interstate 40 northwest of Little Rock was shut down as rescue teams searched through overturned and smashed vehicles for trapped people. A resident of Valonia, Arkansas, described the scene from the disaster.
You know, I saw some of the biggest trees just turned upside down, and literally the houses picked up and set on top of cars. It was, you know, over there, some of the garages are just literally out, the cars in the garage in the yard.
Severe weather strikes North Carolina. North Carolina experienced one of its worst outbreaks of severe weather in some time late Friday into the overnight hours of Saturday. A massive tornado watch was placed over 2/3 of the entire state, and tornadoes were reported in at least 10 different counties. Hardest hit was the area around Greenville, North Carolina. There, heavy rain and hail downed power lines. Also, widespread flash flooding was observed. Significant property damage along with minor injuries were reported, however, there are no known casualties. At last count, 6,800 customers in North Carolina were without power due to the storms.
At least 91 people were killed in a tornado that destroyed several suburbs of Oklahoma City on Monday. The tornado hit the ground just before 3 p.m. It ran through Newcastle first, then flattened the town of Moore 10 miles away. Families who could took cover. The tornado was up to 2 miles wide, and winds blew as fast as 200 miles per hour. The twister sat on the region for 40 minutes, destroying everything it touched. Cars were sucked off the street and tossed like toys. Houses were reduced to splinters. 2 elementary schools were crushed. When the tornado eventually died down, families found piles of rubble where their neighborhoods had been.
When a deadly tornado ripped through Oklahoma, residents had to do everything they could to be safe, including those who were at work when the F5 tornado hit. Siblings Anita and Michael Jung took refuge in the walk-in freezer of their family-owned restaurant. Anita initially thought the tornado was an earthquake because of how much the building was moving and shaking. Her brother Michael struggled to get out because of all the debris. But when they did finally make it out, the restaurant was in shambles. Everything was gone. The tornado ripped through the north side of the street, demolishing the Jung's restaurant. Had they built the restaurant a few hundred feet south, the outcome would have been starkly different.